Welcome back to another video. I am Scott with Techno Eclipse, and in today's video, I want to talk about why Apple did not release an iMac today. As you know, Apple had a keynote today. It's October 30th of 2018. Apple has released a bunch of new products, some of which I was a little bit blown away by, including the iPad Pro. I made a video saying you don't need to buy it, but then after watching it, it's nice. They also released an update to AirPods. Oh, no, wait. No, I'm just joking. They did release a wireless case for the AirPods. They did release a new MacBook Air, which is fine. It looks like it's pretty much just a MacBook Pro. It's like the very middle ground between the MacBook and the MacBook Pro. And that very little middle ground that there was, they sort of squeezed something in there. So I guess that's fine. I'm not really sure why they did that, but I think it's just to pay homage to Steve Jobs, in my opinion. I think there's a little bit of that to a point, but who am I? So obviously the iPad Pro looks really, really good. The new MacBook Air looks really, really good. And they also released a new Apple Pencil, which is kind of nice. And they released a Space Gray Mac Mini. And they're not running on ARM-based chips yet. I know in the future, I bet they probably will be. But for now, we're just sort of stuck with the Intel x86 platform. And I don't think it's a bad thing by any means, but in the future you're going to see an ARM-based CPU inside of a Mac Mini. They sort of alluded to that already with the new iPad Pros, with how powerful they are. Supposed to be, almost twice as powerful, but who knows if that's actually true or if that's not actually true. So for the most part, those were all pretty big deals. I wouldn't say the biggest deal of all time. And I was pretty much okay with everything Apple released. I thought the iPad Pro was the most exciting with the new Apple Pencil. I thought that was the most exciting and shows where Apple's pushing. Where they're probably putting most of their R&D budget would be probably ARM-based chips, because that's where they're going to be moving their whole platform over to in the future, which makes sense. It's a logical next step. But there was something that was clearly missing, and that was the iMacs. I don't know why they didn't release them, but I have a couple theories that hopefully you guys are willing to hear out. And then maybe we can have a little bit of a discussion in the comment section about why they did or didn't release those new iMacs. So we were sort of expecting new iMacs. I know I had heard it. I don't think at the end of the day it was a guarantee, but we had sort of heard it. And we didn't get new iMacs, obviously. There was no update, even just a spec bump, which would have been nice, a spec bump, but there wasn't anything like that. It was just sort of not even talked about. They've talked about pretty much every other computer for the most part, but they didn't even talk about the new iMacs. And there are a couple of reasons to that, and I'm going to go over all of them right now. The first one is that they're just waiting for the 9th gen Intel chips. They could just be waiting for that i9, i7 with the 9900K, the 9700K. They might just be waiting for those chips to become available to them so that they can put them into their new iMacs and then have a very powerful desktop. But there's one problem with that, and this is my other theory, is that they're afraid to put a 9900K or even an 8700K or even a 9700K into the new iMacs. And the main reason is that when you look at Geekbench multi-threaded performance, the 8700K is very, very close to that 8-core W2180 chip. I think it's something like that inside of their iMac Pros, which retail for, as you know, $5,000. So I think they might be a little skeptical of that. And another reason is because Xeon chips don't have Intel QuickSync, which is one of the reasons that Final Cut Pro renders video so fast. It has background rendering, but it also takes advantage of Intel QuickSync, and Xeon chips do not have that. The 8700K does have that, and the 9900K and the 9700K all include Intel QuickSync. So there may be that reason, is that they're afraid to actually release those because they will be more powerful. They won't maybe be, they will be. They will render faster than the iMac Pros that they currently sell now for $5,000. And they're afraid to sell an iMac that'll probably spec out at about $3,000 to maybe $35,000 or $4,000. They're afraid to sell that because it's going to be more powerful than the base model iMac Pro, and there'll be no reason to get an iMac Pro if you can have an iMac with a 9900K or even an 8700K inside of it, 6 cores, 12 threads, or 8 cores and 16 threads, that would literally probably crush even the 10-core iMac Pro, which is way more than $5,000. So I think that's what we're looking at right now, is Apple might be a little bit afraid of that. My next theory on why the iMacs weren't released is because the technology isn't available yet. Apple is pushing everything and all of their screens to the very edge with that rounded corner, the liquid retina display. And I bet Apple wants to have a similar design with their monitors, or monitors if you include the iMac as a monitor. They probably want to have that similar design all throughout, meaning that they want to have that curved glass that goes edge to edge all around the iMac. And I don't know if that technology is available yet to have that be pushed on a 5K display. They talked about anti-aliasing and all that crap. It's a little bit above my head, but I think what we're beginning to see is that Apple might be afraid to release these next iMacs because, one, they might not be ready, and two, they might be too powerful. Those are my theories on why Apple didn't release an iMac today. I'm shocked. It was a creator-focused event, and there is no computer other than the MacBook Pro that is more creator-driven than probably the iMac lineup, whether it's the iMac Pro or the current generation iMacs for budget creators. You can spec those iMacs up to 15 grand on the iMac Pro, or as cheap as like $1,200 on the base model 4K or 1080p iMac. So I'm a little bit surprised to see Apple not engage with those customers today, and I'm a little bit disappointed because it could have been really cool to see a 6-core iMac for the first time ever, and with an i5 that has 6 cores, 6 threads, you would begin to see people not needing the top and most expensive product that Apple sells. And I think that that's maybe one of the reasons that Apple didn't release it. They're a little bit afraid, and they like money a little bit too much. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Is this cat annoying or what? I keep throwing him off the desk. Were you happy with what Apple released today? Disappointed? Sort of just whatever about it? I thought that MacBook Air was not going to be $1,100 or $1,200. I thought it was going to be like $7 or $8. A little bit disappointed there, but what are you going to do? It's Apple. So let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section down below. I'm Scott with Techno Eclipse. If you liked the video, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out. You going to say something? You going to say goodbye? You going to say goodbye? Stitch, you going to say goodbye? Nope. He's not going to say goodbye.